Now we create our first application of many throughout the course, and what we're going to be creating in our first application is a nice and simple Hello World app. Now what this is going to entail us to do is by simply pressing a button which will trigger an action, will display text within our label. So how we're going to do this is by within our interface builder here, we're going to find our button, and I'll drag and drop it to the top there, space it out, make it nice and a little bit bigger, and we can add in also a label. And I'll drag and drop that and make it quite a bit bigger, and I'm going to center the text. I'm going to change the text within our button to simply nice and fun, press me. And we'll just keep our label nice and basic, just saying label, or we can simply change the text saying press the button. There we go. And then what we need to do is add an action onto our button and an outlet onto our label. So we can refer back to these within our code and get them to perform the task we want. So what I'm going to do is bring up the assistant editor and make sure it's selected within our viewcontroller.h. There we go. So I'm going to start by creating an outlet for our label. Drag and drop that over. And by default it's set on outlet, and I'll simply name this label and connect that up and add it in. And I'll do the exact same thing for our button, but I'll make sure the connection is selected as an action, and I'll simply press hello button as the name, keeping the events on touch up inside, and connect that in. Okay, so we've created our action and our outlet for our objects. I can now close the assistant editor, and we can jump straight into our viewcontroller.m, where we can now perform the code or write it out to perform an action to create our Hello World application. So this will be the first bit of code that we've done throughout the course, and it's pretty exciting to get into it. So what we need to do is simply, when we press our button, it's going to display the words Hello World within our label. So to do this, we need to get our label, and we need to then select the text attribute of our label, and we need to edit what it says or what it's currently displaying. So we type out self.label, the name of our outlet, and then we do .text, which is the text attribute of that label, and then what we're going to do is space, get that to simply equal a string. And to create a string, which we've done before, we simply @ and 2 quotation marks, that creates a string of text. Now whatever is in between the 2 quotation marks will be what it will basically change within the text of our label and basically display within our label. So if we write out Hello World, and after our final quotation mark there, we always end each line of code with a semicolon, just to close it up, to basically say it's finished. So again, just give you a quick rundown of what's happening. Our label, we've selected our text function of our label, is equaling a string. And within the string, it says Hello World. So it's taking this string piece of text, this Hello World, and it's adding it to the text attribute of our label, which will be displayed when we perform our action. So if you go to build and run and test it out. Okay, so once it's loaded up, we have our button placed in and our label underneath. So as soon as we interact with our button, we press it. It then displays our string Hello World within our label. So it performs straight away when we press our button. So with one simple line of code, we have changed the text attribute of our label to display some words of our own choosing, and created our very own Hello World application. And by creating our first application, it's not going to fit on all different screen sizes. So in the next lecture, we're going to talk about adding constraints to our applications to make sure that the objects resize depending on what screen size we are working on.